Alison. I'm the founder and wedding planner for Destination Wedding Planning Boutique, and then we got married. This year we've decided to start vlogging. This is to shine a light on the elusive wedding planning industry, but particularly to show what we do within the industry, which isn't necessarily representative of what all wedding planners are doing, but we thought it would be interesting. In social situations, we often find people are very interested in wedding planning as a whole, and so this can be interesting for wannabe wedding planners, as well as our current clients to see what we're up to, and potential future clients, or just generally people looking to work with a wedding planner wherever it is they're looking to get married. So I'm very, very lucky to be joined for 7 weeks by two amazing interns from Germany, from the U2 school in thank you, Germany. And so here I have Sophie, who's going to be asking me a few questions today, and behind the camera is Caroline, who you might see on a future video. So over to you, Sophie.
Okay. How did you become a wedding planner?
So it was actually purely by chance. When I moved to France 6.5 years ago, I couldn't speak French fluently. So I was looking for jobs that I could do that didn't require the language. So that basically meant working with English people, which luckily in the southwest of France here, there are plenty of them. So I started working doing anything and everything. So cleaning, gardening. I studied music at university. So I was teaching piano, teaching singing, also teaching English as a foreign language, but also as a native language, because there are lots of children here who are going to French school but are English nationals, and so they're losing the ability to speak and write correctly in English. So I was doing all these sorts of things for a couple of months, and then I was lucky enough to come across an advert for a junior wedding planner in a wonderful chateau near Saint-Emilion, which at the time was a couple of hours from where we were living. And so I went and applied for the job and got it. And so, yeah, that's where I started wedding planning. So I worked with them for 2 seasons, absolutely brilliant introduction to wedding planning, got to meet lots of amazing people, make great contacts. After 2 seasons, I was getting itchy feet, and I wanted to get out there and see what else there was to discover in France. So that's really how, and then we got married, got started.
Okay. How did you attract clients at the beginning, and how do you do it now?
So at the beginning, as with any new business, you pretty much have to pay for the marketing to bring clients to you, because you don't have a network already. Your name isn't known yet. So we did. We paid to be featured in magazines, to be featured on wedding blogs online. But alongside that, I went out and I was meeting as many people as I could in the industry, meeting with photographers, doing photo shoots, going to visit different venues across France. If I had to travel somewhere, if I had to drive up to England for any reason, then on my way I would schedule meetings to visit chateaus as I went. So I really didn't have a lot of time. I mean, at one stage I had 11 different jobs that I was doing to bring in enough money to keep this wedding planning business going. And so really time was not available to me. But with everything that I was doing, I was just trying to fit in some wedding planning progress along the way. Now, 6 years down the line, we get 90% of our clients through recommendation, which I'm really proud of, and it shows that the team and I are doing what we're supposed to be doing. So that's recommendation from our clients, from previous clients. We've started now having some of our couples have attended weddings that we've planned, and now several years later they're engaged and they're getting married, so they're coming to us, which is great. But additionally, venues and other vendors as well who have worked with us, seen how we work, and recommend us to their clients. So yeah, we do still have ourselves featured on Wedding Sparrow and Junebug. That is purely just they're kind of the places to be to show that you're serious in this industry. And we do photo shoots, but that's more to show, what we would do, what our vision is, and give us that creative license to show what we're really about.
Okay, great. How many weddings have you planned?
I have no idea. I should probably count, but I'm too busy looking forward, not backwards. It must be around 100 by now.
Okay.
I should find out so I can celebrate our 100th anniversary, but if I haven't missed it. But I actually have absolutely no idea. But generally we do between 10 and 20 a year. And so 6 years, we would be around the 100 mark now.
Okay. Cool. In which countries do you do weddings?
We work predominantly in France. Being based here, it's just natural that we do, but we're working a lot more now in Italy. So across the whole of Italy, anywhere from the lakes at Milan, so Maggiore and Como, down to Florence, Rome, Naples, the Amalfi Coast, Puglia, which is a fantastic region, and Sicily. So that's our big push now for the coming years. We also work in Montenegro and the UK, but always for destination wedding couples. So in the UK, I am British, but in the UK we don't work with British clients. We work with Americans, Australians, whoever wants to get married in the UK.
Okay, so that's the next question. Where are your clients from?
So all over the world. Our business is an Anglophone business, despite the fact that I and the full team all are bilingual now. We all speak at least English and French. But we've chosen, the way that we plan weddings is very in keeping with the way that Anglophones expect weddings to be planned. So we don't work with French people, for example, based in France, because we don't do French weddings. Destination weddings are a whole different thing entirely. So really the only rule is they have to speak English, and that's it. So most of our clients come from the UK, the US, Canada and Australia, but we also have quite a few clients who are expatriated in Dubai, of all different nationalities, Lebanese, British, Australian, whatever really. And we've also worked with other couples who are based in countries where English is not their first language, but they're keen to have the type of wedding that we plan, and as a result they're happy to work with us in English.
Okay. Then how much time do you spend planning a wedding?
Such a difficult question to answer, because you might pick up the phone, make a call for one wedding and then jump onto another one, and you just don't clock the hours you're doing. I would probably estimate that I spend around about 100 to 150 hours planning the wedding. Then there's the wedding day itself, and the days either side of that. And I mean, the wedding day itself is a good 22 to 26 hours just on that day alone. The day before, day after, prep, etc. is going to be around 18 hours a day. And then, I mean, some weddings, depending on the nature of what we're doing, if we're doing huge amounts of decoration, we have on occasion had to be in attendance from 1 week before, and they'll be 12 hours per day, up to 7 days in advance. So, even just over the wedding period itself, we could clock up 100 hours. But in terms of the planning side, around 100 to 150 hours, I'd estimate.
Okay, so most couples come about 1 year before they want to marry to you.
Yes, exactly. So we like it if it's more time. Obviously, the more time we have to plan, the better. Also gives them better access to suppliers, because people do get booked up, and there is a limited number of high quality suppliers. So to avoid having to bring suppliers in from far away, it's useful to have enough time to get them in. So I mean, ideally I'd say 18 months before. A year before is fine, but we have done weddings where we've been booked just a couple of months before, and we still managed to do it. So it's just a lot more work.
Okay, and then how big are the weddings you plan?
So I suppose I could answer that question in two ways, in terms of budget and in terms of numbers. So in terms of numbers, we have done, the smallest wedding we've done was 4 people. So it was the bride and groom, best man and maid of honour. And the largest wedding we've done is around the 200 mark. We're not too keen on doing larger weddings than that. It's not really what we're about. But the smaller weddings we're very happy with. So yes, I would say our average size of wedding is between 50 and 80 people. And in terms of budgets, it really depends. Obviously, a wedding with 4 people is going to be a lot cheaper than a wedding with 200. But I would say on average, the price per head of the guests would be around about 800 to 1,000 euros. So to put that into context, really we're looking at anything between around about €15,000 for a very small wedding, through to, I mean, we've worked up to $500,000.
Okay. Not bad.
Yeah.
Okay, then what do you like most about your job?
It has to be the fact that we have an end date to every project that we plan. So I love that we start at the beginning, getting to know the couple, finding out what it is that they want. And that's not always simply a question of saying, what do you want? Because often they don't know.
Yeah.
They think they do. Sometimes they actually do think what they actually want, if that makes sense. And sometimes actually things change hugely during the planning process. And it's my job, it's almost a psychological job to tease out of them, what do they want?
Yeah.
And then making that a reality based on the budget that they have. So we are very, very strict at, where possible, staying to the budget that the couple have set.
Yeah.
Sometimes people get carried away, and then I have to be very clear with them that we can go down this route, but this is going to push your budget over. Sorry, remind me what the question was.
What do you like most?
What do I like? Oh, cool. Okay. Went off on a tangent. So yeah, what I like most is that we get to know the couples, and through the planning process make their dream a reality. But at the end of it, which is usually, like I say, around about 18 months max after the point at which we've started, we see the result, and you see the couple absolutely delighted, you see all of their guests delighted, everyone's saying thank you, big smiles everywhere. And I think that's probably what I like the most.
Yeah.
It's there aren't that many project management jobs where the project time is that short.
Yeah.
So it is nice that we really do get quite quickly to see the result of our hard work.
Okay. What should I ask a wedding planner if I'm looking for the right one?
That's a difficult question, because you can ask a wedding planner anything, but whether you get the correct answer is down to the integrity of the wedding planner. Unfortunately, this industry has a bad name, and that is down to the fact that there are professionals within the industry who don't always give the information they're supposed to give. So I think the most important thing to ask a wedding planner is, please may I speak to some of your previous clients? And when you speak to those previous clients, if you're allowed to, make sure that you really, really question the wedding, see if beforehand you can see some footage of that wedding, because so many people, when they start a business, write the reviews themselves and will put you in touch with their friends, who will obviously tell you everything was wonderful.
Yeah.
That's something you need to be very, very careful of. I do know people doing that, so it's that's a risk. It's, I mean, if you looked at our reviews on Facebook, you would see that they're genuine.
Yeah.
You can see the people's profiles, you can go and have a look, you can see they've often got a photograph of themselves getting married. I would have absolutely no qualms putting future clients in contact with several of our previous clients. Obviously some people are more private than others, and if you have a wedding that's particularly high end, they may not wish to have their details shared, which is fine. But I mean, any wedding planner who's been working for a while should at least have one or two who would be more than happy to sing their praises. Because the thing is, just looking at some pretty pictures is not enough. Everybody normally at some point during their wedding day is going to smile for a photo, and that doesn't necessarily mean that the wedding planner didn't lie to them about how much it was going to cost, and then it ended up being 3 times the amount. I've had couples come to me and say, this is our budget, these are the number of people, this is where we want to get married, this is what we have in our heads as our vision. And I have to say to them, I'm really sorry, but that's impossible. There's absolutely no way that you're going to be able to have that wedding on that budget. And then they say, well, another wedding planner told me it was fine. Wow. And I know it's impossible. And I know that in 6 months, that couple are going to have their hearts broken when they find out that that wedding is not feasible. So either they're going to have to double their budget, or they're going to have a wedding that is not what they were hoping for. And it's very frustrating, because from my side of things, when I'm talking to a couple and saying this, it sounds like I'm just, pitching myself for the job and trying to make them pay above the odds. But in reality, I actually really care, and it frustrates me that other suppliers are perhaps giving us a bad name in this industry. So yeah, I mean, going back to your question, that is definitely the major thing that you need to check into. It's not necessarily a question to ask, but it's just doing your due diligence to make sure that you're getting the right wedding planner. And then once you've done that, the next thing is if you've got a couple of wedding planners that you've shortlisted, go with the one that you like the most. I mean, it's really a simple feeling that you're going to get. Go with the one you trust, because during the planning process, you're going to get extremely close with them. And I mean, my couples, particularly the brides, we're often, daily on WhatsApp together, having a chat. And it could just be anything like, I'm really struggling with my diet. It's not always wedding planning related. And it's just nice to have that, I think. I mean, I'd like to think that the relationship I have with my couples and my brides particularly helps them through any psychological struggles that they might have leading up to the wedding, which I know not from personal experience. I'm still waiting. But from speaking to lots of people, that it's a very difficult thing to do, to plan a wedding. So make sure you've got the right person at your side when you're doing it. Thanks for watching. I hope that was informative for you. We will be announcing future videos on our social media, so stay tuned and don't forget to
like, comment and subscribe.
Thank you. So this is Maria. No, it's not.